Good morning. It is Wednesday, Meerkat Wednesdays, where we look both that way and that way, see what happened at the beginning of the week and where we're heading to the weekend. It is 10 a.m. in the morning. This is at Team Video Account. Today's little section, which I really like in the Daily Stoic, is the banquet of life. Remember to conduct yourself in life as if you are at a banquet. As something being passed around comes to you, reach out your hand and take a moderate helping. Does it pass you by? Don't stop it. It hasn't come yet. It hasn't yet come. Don't burn. This is the most important line, I think. Don't burn in desire for it, but wait until it arrives in front of you. Act this way with children, a spouse towards position. With wealth, one day it will make you worthy of a banquet with the gods. I'm not sure about this banquet with the gods thing, but back then they were just so like... They were the original Instagram influencers back then. Banquet with the gods. Epictetus, Enchiridion, I don't know how to say that word, I apologise. But I really like the sentiment today in the Daily Stoic because we're still in passions and emotions for February. Really keen to get into March, which is awareness, because we are in retrograde right now, which is like seemingly like really getting to a bunch of people really quickly. I see a lot of people who are normally quite stable but they seem to have become unhinged recently and having a really bad month. So like I hope you can find a little bit of solace and meditation in this kind of like cosmic turnaround at the moment. So the banquet of life, I was kind of reminded of this, so it's a good one to have this morning for passions and emotions. I was reminded of this two ways recently. The first way was last night. My daughter contacted me and just out of the blue said, I love you, Dad. And it's the small things in life that really hit the hardest. And one of the things that frustrated me a little bit last night is that she sent the message and I had not seen it. And then I replied to it later on, knowing that she'd has her phone taken off her and taken downstairs at night time. She only has a certain amount of time with it at night, so I'd kind of missed that before bed thing. And I don't like that. I don't like the fact that I didn't get to reply back, and it's kind of rough. And I'm actually welling up about it now. But so this is kind of nice to have this morning, is the banquet of life presented in front of me, because every time I'm either with her or every time I'm with Dale or every time that I with brand new people that we sit down and have dinner, or we have like something quite something quite unique, like if I oh, my focus went out again, sorry. If we have a kind of like banquet of food that I wouldn't normally eat. Hang on, I'm getting a bit laggy here. I'm not sure why. Probably script kid is. Then I celebrate it. I celebrate the fact that I've been lucky enough to be present in those people and sitting around and having that interaction with fellow human beings, because it can get pretty lonely when you are so determined to do something, so determined to re-engineer yourself, or like rediscover what makes you tick, or trying to hone it into those passions, or even just keeping yourself above water mentally with all the influx of news that we have every single day. So I really like this sentiment this morning. Finally, the next time it's your turn to host and treat others just as we have been treated. And I think that's that was the second thing I wanted to get at, is that it's interesting to me how online communications has evolved, because in the last 3 or 4 years, and actually I'm really surprised that the years have flown by so quick, but when I look back, there is so much that I have to be thankful for, especially of this chain, and especially of the ability to blog somewhere where I don't have a monthly bill to pay for WordPress hosting, or constantly have to check like plugins have not broken or things like that. So to be able to have a space, like a post-it note space, to be able to write and get some rewards for that is really cool. And I really hope that in the future, legacy and history and doing it in a humble way, instead of being some presumptuous know-it-all nerd bucket, who actually gets off on the legacy of information. I hope that algorithms are smart enough to determine like the sentiment. I hope we have better sentiment analysis. That's what I'm saying. I think if we can build tools that are both suggestive in terms of, you know, we think you are in this headspace right now and you probably need to do XYZ, or, you know, we read through your latest newsletter, or we read through your latest blog post and we found these like things in there, or we've had like 15 people flag it for XY reasons. Maybe there's something in there for healthcare and mental health in some way. I would love to see job centres, for instance, in the UK pushing pushing for people to write, to either write or to do video about where they're at in life, what they're up to, in a safe and secure way. Because I think what happens is that people kind of fall through the cracks, and I think that's the big worry now as well. With, you know, we talk about the banquet of life, but we've had it good for a long time, and we're starting to see. I saw a graph this morning with like the curve is completely changing. People using cards and digital rather than cash, and people are worried that cash is going to go away. Well, you know, checks went away. Cash is probably a more difficult one to do, although we are minting a lot less currency or coins than we ever did. So there is going to be people who fall through those gaps. So there is lots of challenges that we have ahead, and there's lots of things that we can do to provide what we think is a banquet of information for other people to learn from. And I've always had that opinion for like job centers and for libraries. We could do so much more to onboard people, to connect each other, instead of being so distant from each other and fragmented. So I kind of dig this morning. I'm still a little bit on edge, although I did speak to my daughter this morning. She's good. She's like she's with my mum this morning because it's half term. I didn't even know it was half term. Like, they have so many holidays, they're never there. I'm kind of glad in some ways that it is half term, because at least, you know, with all this coronavirus and just the sickness stuff, at least she's just with a few people rather than spread around a lot of people. Remember to conduct yourself in life as if at a banquet. Interesting they use banquets. I mean, that's all they ever did back then, was go from one banquet to another banquet on the back of a horse. Look at me, I am going to a banquet. All right, I will catch up with you soon. I'm going to do a whole bunch of video today on different accounts, and then I'm doing some course stuff, and also been suggesting, because we're white labeling some different embeds for the Steam blockchain, also suggested Wistia for that, because I would love to see Wistia embedded, maybe even Twitch as well. Maybe I should suggest Twitch too. All right, you have a good day wherever you are in the world, and stay safe. Eat the right food, plenty of water, plenty of exercise, bit of meditation. The world's your oyster. I'll see you soon. Bye. Drifting